Hi everyone. So I was in the process of flushing all my plants, and for some time now I was wondering why this mini phal is growing so well, right? You can see that there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 sets of leaves now, right, which means 12 leaves into the whole plant. But I obviously knew, if you remember this plant before, uh, this had so much of roots which has stopped. That was quite concerning thing for me. Like this, they have stopped. So what I did was I pulled it out, right, and there are such a load of good roots. Okay, but these were at the bottom, right? So there was a small root rot again, which the plant took care of, because obviously the best root is up to the top of the stem and not to the bottom of where the preliminary root bulb was, right? The plant took care of the root rot and threw out this huge long root and recovered. Plus this is a caterpillar bite, so don't worry about this. And I was waiting for the sign of a new leaf to pull this out and see. And so this is natural, right? This also can be considered as natural. And I just pull them out with my fingers, that's it, right? I did not use any scissors, only to the root, the longest dried up root you saw from here. I took it off using a scissor. The others would just come off, right? And this is the pot it was in. And we do not get the names of the phals. These are anyway hybrids, so it's just a number. And I'll show you how it was potted. Now these are relatively small, but you will see in this huge pot, right? I'll pull them all out and show you. These are the media that it was in, right? And so it's quite huge. It's actually chunky, right? And these are the very most bottom. This root I wanted to show you that I broke it. And now you can see that I have reduced the space from the bottom of this big pot by using big chunks of charcoal. There was another concern which I wanted to address. These the hole, right, would not drain the water at once, right? That was because of these pieces. Now if you guys are familiar to my channel, you know that I make my own charcoal, right? So some of the charcoal, even though they are from a very good wood, would just break down also, in the sense, not break down, they will break into pieces, right? So those are the see, I collected a lot more, right? Those were hanging on to the bottom of the pot, right? So from now on, for this repot, none of these small pieces will be included. Right? Before a repotting, it's advisable to clean out your whole plant, because I'll show you, there is residue from my organic fertilizer, right? There is residue. So just like that, flushing would eliminate all that, like it'll flush away all that. and the bottommost leaf was heavily drenched with that soot and the dust, so I washed it all off. I use a small brush, a very soft brush on the leaves, and I clean out the leaves up and down. Okay, but the breathing of falls happen from the underneath of the leaves, so therefore make sure whenever you wash them you do not scratch them, right? And you wash them thoroughly as well as dry them very well, so the plant will not go into any kind of problem when they open their stomatas in the night, which are placed again on the back of the leaf to breathe. So I opted for the same pot, and I show you, I placed the same 3 chunky logs at the bottom, then place the plant, but that's it going to be for the chunky media I will use, right? None of these pieces which you see on the top will be used, right? None of these, right? And I will lay them here and there for now. This is a very impromptu video, and I will be using these. I quickly need to repot this and finish. That's why I chose the rack itself without pulling in all my small tables and stuff. So here I will use this. I will just drop this right at the bottom, right, and I will keep adding media that is not very big, right? Because if you remember, this did not have any moss in it, but now that's my trick. I will be using some of the moss pieces around the media to retain more moisture too. So I'm not gonna go very small when it comes to the pieces of lava rock and charcoal, but they will definitely be smaller than the previous chunky ones that held the majority of this pot. At that time I wanted to increase the air circulation and not cause any root rot to this repotting, because they were just imported and I just wanted them stably in an environment where that will have very less amounts of transplant shock, right? So that's why I chose lava rock and charcoal, because charcoal is highly antiseptic, and you can dry off the media by using large grade media. So therefore your plant will be safe for the majority of it when you give the proper care to it too, right? So I'm holding the camera with one hand. I can do that, that's fine. And I'm just dumping the media inside, right? And my son came along hearing my words, so he's holding the camera now and he's mimicking all my words, right? So it actually pays to have a kid. Right? So he's a 19-year-old now. He actually should not be helping me with my shenanigans, but he does because he's my only child, and I'm blessed to have him. So now I am trying to just stabilize the, so if these pieces are breaking, I will be taking them off, right? That's because I burned them all throughout, and sometimes they can come apart, right? Even these pieces, if I break them, they will break, right? So this was actually from one of my old chopping boards, right? See, there are somewhat places which has not got burned, but the flat surface and the shape, I can say that's from that board. So now, even though I am using lava rock and charcoal, I still have not added the pieces of fern to it yet, right? Because I will be adding them towards the top, right? And I cannot see the back, but when I put the fingers through, I know where it lacks the media. So I will be adding, so this will be very big towards the top, right? Again, that part will be removed, and I will be using pieces like this because now the plant is used to the media, my conditions in a tropical climate, and the pot and the way I care. So because of that, now I can use smaller grade of charcoal and lava rock. I will not necessarily go into very small grades, but this will be medium in my measurements. This might be large in your measurements, but this is what I normally have, right? So these pieces again will not be used, and neither these pieces will be used because these are too small. The smaller the size of your media, the more moisture it will retain. So therefore, even though the clay will take care of it, it's better to be on the safe side and reduce the smaller sizes as much as possible. But if you really need a small piece here and there to get your plant stable in the pot, please go ahead and use them. So there's no harm in that, but not a lot of small grade media should be used. Now you can see how I have been adding, right? So this is too small again, I will take that out. And like that. So my motive here is to, you can see the other side also, this side can use a bit more media. My motive here is to keep the plant stable too, because these are very spongy when they are dry, right? Even when you use sphagnum moss or cocoa husk, a cocoa husk with the shell attached to the piece of the cocoa would not be bouncy like this, but sphagnum moss, make sure you insert them properly. Same goes with industrial wool. The mini phal is repotted, and I have also placed some large pebbles around it to further stabilize it. The funny thing about these pebbles is, due to its mineral composition, when wetted, they look green. Sometimes it looks like a type of moss is growing on it. It's very interesting to see. But let's discuss what your aftercare should be now that the phal is repotted. Any plant would go through a transplant shock when repotted. Here, what you need to minimize is the shock it would face, because it's trying to get a hold of its media all over again. To reduce the transplant shock, before repotting, you can also dunk your Phalaenopsis in a bit of Mega Thrive or Super Thrive. In a situation where you own neither of these fertilizers, or foliar sprays, you can opt for a high phosphorus fertilizer or a high nitrogen fertilizer. I know I keep repeating myself, but it is advisable to reduce the transplant shock your fall would face by yellowing its bottom leaves or by stopping the roots from its advancement. At the same time, it is advisable to use half strength of what is noted on the label of the bottle, because high dosages can mutate the growth structures of your fall very easily. That's why we believe when it comes to orchid growing and fertilizing that less is more. If you have got the fertilizing to a T, I will summarize everything I've mentioned in this video. When you had your Phalaenopsis for over an year, you can repot it. Make sure you wet the whole plant and ease the roots from the media without breaking them. There will be casualties, do not worry, because if you have grown your fall for more than an year, it should have a very good root structure too. And not only the root structure, make sure to inspect all of its other structures too. See into the media if there are any pests in the media. If you are using inorganic media, you can reuse them, but make sure you thoroughly clean them. You can increase the size of the pot or use the same size as per the growth of your fall. If there is an abundance of roots, you can increase the size of the pot. But here I chose the same size because this is a mini fall which can fit into the same pot for years on end. You can wash or wipe clean your leaves, but make sure they are dried before nightfall. This is only when you repot, because some people water their plants in the night too. That's totally fine, but we are trying to reduce any kind of added stress to the plant by introducing fungal or bacterial infections. If you are drying them manually, make sure to use a clean cloth or a tissue without any dust in them. Once your media is clean, you can insert the roots without breaking them and gather all the rest of the media and secure the plant. Make sure you secure the plant, because Phalaenopsis, if they are shaking, they will not be able to root themselves properly into the media. The fern root pieces that I have added on top will dry up within a few hours, and the pebbles on top will further secure the plant in the media. Finally, if you're not facing any dieback on your Phalaenopsis, you have to flush your plant every week. So that will enable good oxygen through to the roots, as well as flush away all the excess mineral buildup from the media and the roots itself. Hope you remember all my tips. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you, and bye bye.